Hey everyone, and welcome to another Marks & Crafts figurine review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Bicute Bunnies Hatsune Miku sportwear version. I believe that's the name of it. Basically, the Bicute Bunny line are a set of prize figures, so the crane game prizes in Japan. And they are of a higher quality than most other prize figures, and that mainly has to do with the scale of the figure itself and some of the smaller details that they have on them. One of the key features of this series of figures is that they have fishnet stockings, not unlike the quarter-scale freeing bunny figures, but at a much more affordable price. Granted, the stockings and things like that aren't as high quality, and there is a massive seam on all of them, but you get what you pay for, and it's pretty damn good for the price that you pay. Now, this is the third Miku that they've done in the set. I will have photos of the previous two. I do have one of them, but I don't have it on me right now as comparison, but yeah, they're pretty cool. I've also got the Supersonica one, which is also very, very cool. But yeah, so far the line has been very good. It's not super diverse just because it's done 3 Mikus, 1 Sonico, another Sonico on the way, multiple recolors of all of those figures, as well as 2 Rem and 2 Rem, and I believe they're doing recolors of those as well. I would like them to do, or at least I would like them to have more diversity in character, because I think it is a very cool line, and it is basically screaming out for them to do a Bunny Girl Senpai line, but I digress. Anyway, this is a prize figure done by Furyu, and I don't think I've looked at too many Furyu figures on this channel, mainly Taito and Ben Presto so far, but Furyu are pretty good as well. They mainly do a lot of the noodle stopper figures. So without further ado, let's look inside the box. Now, outside of the box, we have the Miku figure itself. It comes in 3 pieces, which is the figure, the base, and the ears. The ears were a bit of an awkward fit, but with a little bit of force, it went on without any issue. You could also shave down the peg to make it slide in and out without any fiddliness. Anyway, the figure stands quite tall. As you can see, the box is pretty big, and the figure itself is pretty large as well. I don't know if I've got something on hand as size comparison. Just there, that is a one-piece WCF figure. They are quite small, but you can see it for scale, and I will get... There's a standard Ben Presto figure. This is the World of Stone, Dr. Stone Senku figure. And there's a high-grade Gundam, and that is the HD Gundam Gremory. So you can see the Bicute Bunny figure stands quite tall, especially in comparison to the sort of standard prize figure size that the Dr. Stone Senku shows. Now, one key thing about most prize figures, not all prize figures, is that they don't really do gradients of color or heavy shading. That's more something that you pay a higher price for. That's why a lot of the professional figures look so much better, because there is a gradient in the colors, there's a lot more detail and depth and things like that. The reason why I bring this up is because I think that there isn't much depth in this Miku's hair. It all feels very flat, and the streak of bright neon yellowish green hair on her kind of blends in. It's not prominent, even though you would think it would be. And it's a bit of a shame that you can't really see much depth or really anything pop visually from her hair. The outfit itself and things like that is quite nice. The ears are simple, but it's got a sort of not cyberpunk, but it's got this sort of neon aesthetic to it. Gloves and everything like that have that same aesthetic. Just moving down. I do like the bow at the back. It says Hatsune Miku, and how it sort of just sits down. Well, not sits down, but it just goes straight down. And her shoes look really nice and sporty. Now, the reason why I say that this doesn't have a lot of depth, and it doesn't really pop and things like that, and therefore doesn't have a lot of character, is because the art itself that it's based on has a lot of character, and I'll quickly show you that now. So on the side of the box, this is the art that the figure was based on, and you can see the nice gradient of the hair, where it's like a darker blue up top and a lighter blue at the ends. The streak of greenish, neon, yellowish whatever it is in her hair is sort of spread out a bit more, and is sort of more subtle but really pops quite well. The outfit's designs are nice and things like that. Obviously you can't have the shadowing or shading from like the sort of fake light that this art uses, but you can basically see that the art that it's based off has a lot more depth and a lot more character. And that's the problem with the figure. It sort of lacks depth and character. And look, it is a prize figure, but we have looked at pretty good prize figures in the past on this channel. And Furyu's just not quite there yet. It is very good, and previous Bicute Bunnies were fantastic as well, but they didn't need to rely on something like that. Whereas this one is trying to go for a specific aesthetic and doesn't quite hit it. Now, paint error wise and general sort of quality wise, it is just a pretty standard prize figure. I haven't found any major issues, just the little niggling bits and pieces that you would find on practically any prize figure, as well as just the general mix of qualities of plastic and simplified coatings and things like that that you wouldn't find on higher quality figures, where it's like the quality of the plastic feels like plastic, whereas other ones sort of texture it or make it look nicer, like it might be a matte finish or a gloss finish and things like that. A lot of this feels like it's how it was finished outside of the factory, apart from her main body of the bunny outfit, which is very high gloss and shines very nicely in the light. Her eyes are quite well detailed, I will say that, but again the hair just really detracts from it all. And you can see the massive seam on the stockings, but doesn't really matter that much. Like, you're not going to get the highest quality stockings for the price that you pay. It is just a standard prize figure price, but it's still nice nonetheless. And every Bicute figure has the same sort of base, which is a logo based on the brand, but we'll also take a closer look at the shoes, which look very nice as well. You can see the paint isn't super clean, but it's good enough for what it is, and it doesn't hurt the main viewing angle. It's always about the main viewing angle. Generally, the structure of the pose is quite nice. It's not super dynamic, but it's also not boring. Again, just because of aesthetic choices, I don't think it pops nearly as well as it should, but the pose itself is nice. Maybe a recolor in the future would actually bring a lot more life into it, so there's always that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The Bicute Bunnies line is pretty good, but also pretty inconsistent. It really depends on the character and the outfit choice, and the second Miku that they did in the white dress, or the white bunny suit, is very nice, and the first Sonoko they did is fantastic. Not a big fan of sort of like the more boring Rem and Ram ones. Like, they are good for the price that you pay, but they are incredibly standard. The later Rem and Ram ones didn't look that great either. I'm not too sure about the latest Sonoko one and things like that. So I think it really, really depends on the art that they choose, and then the figure that is produced out of that. It's not really a consistent line. It very, very, very heavily relies on the source material. But regardless, this is a good figure for the price that you pay. If you just want some bunnies at an affordable price, absolutely go for the Bicute Bunny line. It's so much easier than collecting the quarter scale freeings. One, the quarter scale freeings are huge because they're quarter scale, and this is huge too, but not nearly as bad. But also it saves your wallet quite a bit. I mean, you could basically collect the entire Bicute line and it wouldn't even equate to a single freeing bunny at this point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you all next time.